As Indian 2 hits the theatres, will Kamal Haasan, starrer, directed by Shankar, work its way at the box office? Remember, it's a 400 crore sequel to the 1996 movie Indian. Shankar and Kamal are coming together after 28 years. So what's the verdict on Hindustani 2, as it's called in the rest of India, Indian 2 in Tamil Nadu on the film? There are mixed reactions coming in from Chennai. Joining me this evening is entertainment journalist Lata Srinivasan. Lata, what's the buzz you're picking up, and what's your own verdict on Indian 2?
Well, there were very, very, very high expectations given that it's coming after 28 years, like you pointed out. But unfortunately, it has not lived up to expectations. And the verdict has been that it's a very average film. And especially given that it stars Kamal Haasan and it's a Shankar film. So average is the word on the street.
Well, you use the word average, but is it in comparison to the kind of movies that Shankar has delivered and perhaps Vikram too, that Kamal Haasan had as a massive box office grosser, or is it average by any standard?
Kamal, of course, his repertoire is fantastic. We know the kind of films he's made. And of course, Shankar does, 300 crore plus grandiose films. But when you compare it to Indian, and as a sequel to Indian, the first film that came out in 1996, this was a big letdown, to say the least. In terms of the story and screenplay, there's a lot missing. And what we loved about Senapati, the character that Kamal plays, Indian Tata, is completely missing in this film. And I think the audience is also feeling it, and they're very disappointed. So.
Okay, but what's the reaction you're picking up as far as the box office is concerned in terms of weekend collections? So obviously you entertainment journalists have often catch the buzz as far as worldwide release as well. What's the buzz that you're picking up?
The first day itself, I think most shows around the world were not going houseful, which is indicative of what is going to come over the weekend. And given the fact that critics and the audience, especially if you go on Twitter and see the reactions, they've already started panning the film. So I think box office wise, it is not going to do as well. Whether it's going to recover its cost is the big question right now. And we'll have to wait till Monday and see what happens. But the other thing that I can tell you is that it's been sold to Netflix for a whopping amount. So it's probably already recovered most of its money that way.
All right, that's the critics' verdict. That's the critics' analysis of the movie and how it's coming down. Obviously, it will be, if it doesn't do as well as his earlier hits like Vikram, Kamal Haasan and Shankar would be disappointed because it's a big budget film, and obviously Tamil cinema has been looking closely at it. Let's just listen in to some of the audience fans' reactions after the release of Indian 2 from outside the theatres.
How would you rate Kamal Haasan's performance as Senapati?
He's extraordinary, amazing for his age and his personality. He's a versatile person, and the music beats by Anirudh is really extraordinary. And edge of the seats action and Siddharth outburst of emotions is really very, very good. It's really a spectacular. And this movie is an opportunity to see Manobala sir, Vivek sir, and many actors who have...
Kamal is focusing on the need to cleanse from everyone's home in terms of corruption.
Zero tolerance corruption is a very good concept, and it's really that we need to inculcate in our blood. Okay, it comes from the gene, and that is what we pass on to the next generation.
It's not like Indian one. It's like Viswarubam 2. How is Viswarubam 1? It will be very nice. Viswarubam 1 will be fantastic, but Viswarubam 2 is boring. Something like...
What was missing in your view?
In my view, Shankar's missing. Shankar's movie, all movie I like, but Indian 2 is not Shankar's thing. It's very lagging. I get sleep. My most watched movies is Shankar movies. I always rewatch movies as Shankar movies like Onion, Robot, like that, Shivaji 3.
Does it excite you to wait for Indian 3?
Yes, it excites. Indian 3, the last trailer is awesome.
Well, Kamal Haasan sir acting and his action, Shankar's direction.
Waiting so much for Indian 3. I am excited to watch it in the
Well, those are the fan reactions, Lata. I hope you heard those reactions. Very quick question to you as we wrap this conversation up. What's the lesson that not all big hits of 20 years ago can have a sequel? You don't force a sequel. A sequel is something that has to come by on its own. Is that the lesson?
Well, I think, what you said, it applies to a lot of films, not just a film that comes out, 20 years ago. I think a lot of films don't need sequels because when you made a good product, I think, you should applaud it and then move on to something new because the audience doesn't forget, their expectations grow far bigger. Like, for instance, Kamal's Vikram was a hit. Now, if he had to make a sequel to that, that's going to be a tough proposition for the director. And I think the lesson learned is that if there's a good thing, don't touch it. Move on to something else and give the audience something new. So, yeah.
Right. Of course, there's a lot of hard work that went into that movie, both in terms of the actor and director. We'll see how it fares eventually at the box office, but mixed reactions at the moment. And as Lata pointing out, not really up to what the first one was in 1996. But thanks very much, Lata, for your thoughts on Kamal Haasan and director Shankar's Indian 2. That's all we have time for on the Southern View this evening. News and updates continue right here on NDTV. Thanks for watching.